3 whole minutes of this fan blowing. Creepy-ass toy collection is creepy AF. These books are facing the wrong way, but it doesn't matter because they'll never be read anyway. Movie teases this dark religious imagery, but it is never brought up in the story. Movie shouts out my favorite Doors song, then does not even play the song. Alex's mom does his laundry and packs for him. If you're going to pack someone's bag, at least do it right. You're zipping it up, but it's barely halfway full. Discount Sam Neill. The Goo Goo Dolls.
Whoa, mama, you gotta leave that on.
Not unless you want your bags to end up in Sheboygan.
You made the last flight without the plane crashing or anything, so I figured it's gotta be on the bag, or at least with the bag.
Disturbed teen's cries for help are lost on his vapid suburban parents.
So, 17, on the loose. Senior trip with your friends in Paris, 10 days in the springtime.
Holy dad's position. Any other plot points I missed so far? Actually, can you come back at the end of the film and explain all that shit about death's design and free will? That would be helpful. Still creepy. Flight 180 was apparently based on real-life air disaster TWA Flight 800. Both were bound for Paris from JFK and exploded just after takeoff, killing all passengers including a high school French class. Even for a film made before 9/11, that shit was too soon. Pre-recorded loading zone announcement at an airport terminal cliche. Also, the white zone? That's racist.
Hey, Cardi, Diddy!
Guy who plays Stifler in American Pie is not at all typecast in this role. Sitting this guy's parents for naming their kid Carter. Discount Matthew Lillard from Scream.
Les étudiants, allons-y en France.
Foreign language teacher annoyingly insists on speaking only that foreign language to his class cliche.
Look, this is for both of you. Alright?
Enjoy this American currency in France. Removing a sin for Ali Larter's midriff shirt she wears throughout this film. There needs to be some loading and unloading in her white zone, if you know what I mean. Oh!
Qu'est-ce que c'est l'annonce?
What the fuck's he want?
Entire group of French students are selected to go on this international field trip, but none of them comprehend basic French. Either this is the worst teacher ever, or these are a bunch of freeloading dicks. Also, what the hell kind of high school sends an entire class on a trip to Europe? It's not some rich kid private school either. These are typical American public school assholes.
The airport does not endorse solicitors.
Teacher stumps class with a question that is half-heartedly answered by the brooding loner that no one realized was an intellectual cliche.
Hari Rama.
Miss Luton is a dick to Hari Krishnas. Roll credits. Also, final is redundant in this context. Final implies last in a sequence, but this is a direct flight with no connections. If there's only one destination, there is no final destination.
September 25, 9:25.
Except this French chick would have said 25-9 because they do dates backwards in non-America. French kissing.
Alex, let's go take a shit. Do I want to take a shit by yourself?
Discount shit break from American Pie.
The toilets in Coach are barely ventilated closets, alright, if that. Like directly after you walks in. Krista or Blake. Do you want them to associate you with that watery sting in their eye, that reflexive gag at the back of their throat?
This guy fucks. These guys aren't playing battle shits.
God damn. Tired of plane crash.
Toilet seat epiphanies. Rocky Mountain High is played way more times in this movie than should ever have been allowed. Airline service vehicles are not allowed to drive under the jetway, even if they do have an awesome 666 on it. 14 seconds of crying baby on a plane.
Be a fucked up guy to take down this plane.
Complacency.
Could you trade seats with Blake so she and I could sit together? Please?
Manipulation.
Notre voyage commence!
This guy could have said anything here, and everyone still would have cheered, because none of these assholes speak any French. Wasting delicious candy. Why isn't this asshole buckled up?
Is there a problem, sir? What's your fucking problem?
Alex, qu'est-ce que c'est?
Delusional teacher can't stop being French for even 1 minute. Carter's solution to everything is to kick someone's ass.
You got this? No one gets back on board. That's my call.
Did you know you can identify a pilot's ranking by the stripes on their uniform? Well, you can. Only the captain can make this call. This one-stripe noob is out here bossing folks around, but he's barely a step up from being a peanut pusher.
Please understand my position.
Understand this, you prick. Carter came here to kick some ass and fly to Paris, and we're all out of flights to Paris.
I'll stay.
No, you know the whole French thing. Get on the plane, it's fine. It's fine.
French teacher of a French class tells other French teacher he's better at that whole French thing.
Wait, I didn't fight with anyone!
Stifler's gonna stiff.
You fucking prick! Oh shit!
Where Where is your God now? Hold on, though. Alex's premonition showed a gradually escalating disaster, first with the plane violently shaking, then depressurizing, then a small explosion on the left side causing these guys to get sucked out, then going into a nosedive before a big explosion ripped through the cabin and melted his face. The real-life plane was taken out with a single huge explosion only moments after takeoff. Alex later makes some crucial assumptions based on the weight of this premonition, despite how different the two scenarios are. That being said, removing a sin for being one of the best plane crash scenes ever filmed.
Well, the cause for the explosion is still undetermined.
Yeah, it's been like 20 minutes. Discount Anthony Edwards. That is not Stifler's mom. Everyone is greeted by family except for Clear, indicating this precocious yet emotionally detached teen endures a troubled home life, one which we'll probably have to hear all about later in a long, boring scene. Also, sending this chick's parents for naming their kid Clear. If Clear had an iPod in this scene, you know what it'd be playing.
I'm only happy when it rains.
We ask ourselves, why? Ecclesiastes tells us.
Skip.
To live my life to the fullest. Why don't you stay off the JD then, huh, Carter?
Just be glad he's only doing the JD and not the drugs.
I'm never gonna die.
Tempting fate.
I took my driver's test last week at the DMV. Got a 70. It's the lowest score you can get, but I passed.
Reach for the stars, Stiffmeister.
Miss Luton, don't talk to me. You scared the hell out of me.
Miss Luton fails at being a role model to the grieving student body by spiraling toward emotional collapse rather than seeking therapy.
Listen, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, man, but I miss you.
No homo, bro.
We say that the hour of death cannot be forecast.
Skip. Creaking door slowly closes by itself in a horror movie cliche. Movie makes us watch this guy poop a second time. Analog porn. That's not how shaving works. Guy unknowingly averts being killed by several deadly things before being killed by a completely different thing in a Final Destination movie cliche. The Fapper's Dilemma. How are you supposed to read the articles now? Looks like he caught the red eye after all, eh? Alex is somehow able to hide his erection in this scene. Allie Larder is not my girlfriend in this scene.
It's how you make me feel, Alex.
Is it getting hot in here? Convenient Giant unsecured hatch is Convenient Giant and unsecured. These two break into this room even though there is no lock on the door.
Why did they make him up like Michael Jackson?
That's racist.
Please. You'll wake the dead.
Obligatory sin removal for Tony Todd. Clearly deranged mortician does not hack these intruders into little pieces even though he could totally get away with it.
The risk of cheating the plan, of disrespecting the design.
It's implied that Mr. Bloodworth is some sort of agent or messenger of death, but if he's advising these two on the workings of death's design, wouldn't he actively be working against death?
I'll see you soon.
This paper scrap shows no wrinkles despite being carried around in Alex's pocket for several days. Obviously empty coffee cup is obviously empty.
Pictures in my head of the Final Destination.
Roll 9-inch credits. Why is Stifler riding a bike? I thought he just passed his driver's test. Carter pulls this reckless stunt just to go pick a fight with Alex, because when you're Carter, it's always ass-kicking time. Entire cast is suddenly convened in one place, but instead of killing them all at once, Death continues killing them one at a time because Death is an asshole.
I will not let this plane crash be the most important thing in my life! God!
Domestic violence.
Then you can just drop fucking dead.
Sinning this chick's parents for not teaching her to look both ways before crossing the street. Driver of this bus not only recklessly speeding, but does not apply brakes before or after smashing into a pedestrian. Also, where the hell did this bus even come from? This street is blocked off by construction, and the other street is partly blocked by Carter's car. There's literally no direction it could have come from at that speed. This is a classic movie kill, but it's also bullshit.
Path of the explosion. They're dying in the order they would have died. That's Death's design.
Except he is tracing the path of the fuel line after it ignited, which led to the catastrophic explosion of the fuel pump. The blast pattern is shown going in the opposite direction, which would have killed them in the reverse order of what he is now predicting. I know he ends up being right about this, but I just can't follow this logic. Creeper's gonna creep.
Hi, this is Valerie Luton. I need Agent Shrek.
Implying these FBI guys are on call 24/7, and that they'd take a call from a hysterical woman in the middle of the night. These FBI guys are not only on duty, but right around the corner.
I'm not going Dahmer. on you guys.
Going Dahmer.
That kid gives me the creeps.
This guy calling someone else creepy.
But sometimes you give me the creeps.
This guy would be excellent at CinemaSins. You just took the bottle out of the freezer. Do you really need to put ice in it? Wasting delicious vodka. Guy burning leaves in his yard in the middle of the night is not acknowledged as either out of place or totally creepy, when it is definitely both. Why does Alex even need a premonition here? Surely he's on his way to check on Miss Luton already. Terrified woman calls police on stalker, then does not lock her own front door. Also, how long did it take Alex to get back here, considering he left the FBI building on foot?
Oh God, Miss Luton.
This moment is pure gold. How does Alex know the house will explode? How even does the house explode? Why is Stifler even riding by this house right now? So much of this movie's plot progression depends on its characters happening to be in the same place at the same time. Dude.
Interesting work.
Backhanded compliments.
Drive the speed limit, okay? Oh, and don't pass on the right.
Guy who still rides a bike everywhere is qualified to give out driving tips.
You're the next one, man. Hey, man, why'd you say that? Because if you say another word, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
How long's he been waiting to drop that zinger?
When I was 10, my dad went into a 7-Eleven for cigarettes.
Discount troubled teen confides traumatic childhood story of her father's tragic death scene from Gremlins.
He didn't really want a kid, so my mom didn't either anymore.
Skippity skip!
No, we're taking you to my dad's cabin in the woods. It's only a couple miles from my house.
Group of teens trek to a cabin in the woods in a horror movie cliche.
Fire like caramelized her blood, Alex. Your shoe prints were in it. Your fingerprints were on the knives.
Implying that much evidence would not only be preserved after a huge explosion, but that it would already be analyzed only hours later, and that the FBI guys would divulge such information to a friend of the suspect.
I knew I should have filled up Tammy in the pool that time.
Stifler's greatest life regret is not having molested a girl at a party. Guy actively being pursued by literal death itself only just now thinks to put on his seatbelt. Discount letting go of the steering wheel to prove a point about free will scene from Fight Club. Car stopped on railroad tracks refuses to start as a speeding train approaches cliche. Train operator does not stop train despite fiery explosion caused by train. Character on a tirade is horrifically killed mid-sentence by a subtly foreshadowed freak accident in a Final Destination movie cliche.
What, intervene? What do you, God now? God's unafraid to die. Gods don't die. We do.
Guy with obvious God complex denies having a God complex for the second time in the movie. This cabin is not being swarmed by redneck zombies controlled by technicians from an underground facility. This goes on for some time. Discount Carl Sagan. Feds on a stakeout get trolled by the person they are staking out because that person has been onto them the entire time cliche. Useless cops allow Alex to escape on a rowboat even though they had more than enough time to tase his ass. Evil detecting dog cliche. Thrashing, zapping movie power lines. Alex can row across a lake and still lead cops on a foot chase instead of collapsing from pure exhaustion. This disgusting pool water. Alex is a recent graduate of the Prometheus School of running away from things. Car reverses through the garage door, but it was clearly shifted into drive.
Don't touch anything. You're grounded by the tires, okay?
Sitting my 8th grade science teacher for not including this in the course curriculum.
The car's gonna explode!
Comforting last words from Captain Obvious. No. They both survived this. This Parisian boulevard does not at all look like it was filmed in Vancouver, Canada. This creepy asshole.
Just hear me out, alright? Oh my God. Just listen, now.
Buzzy McBuzzkill rips open painful wounds right in the middle of the gang's victory celebration. Alex carries detailed diagrams of an aircraft explosion onto a flight and is not immediately detained in a Guantanamo holding cell for several years without charges.
But I am the safest fucker in the world because you're still next.
Still tempting fate. Wasting delicious wine. Guy who cheated death's design and witnessed his own friend being killed by a speeding bus somehow still lacks basic common sense and fundamental survival skills. all these numbers and not a single 666. Guy standing in obvious path of deadly destruction is obviously about to die in the closing shot of a Final Destination movie cliche.
And you don't even want to fuck